About 2 years ago, I was in Rexburg looking for a job. I had been looking all around. It's a difficult market to find a job in because there's so many college students. I came across one interview, finally, after getting rejected from several places, at a jewelry store. Now, obviously, the jewelry store, sales is a big part. They need to be able to sell jewelry to the customers on a daily basis. And having that skill set is important to them. So I was a little unprepared in the interview, and in that interview, she asked me to sell her a pen. Now, at the time, I had no idea what to do. I mean, it's just a pen. How could I possibly sell her something so menial? I didn't have a concept of sales techniques or how I could go about doing something like that for that interview. Obviously, because of that, I didn't do very well, and I didn't end up getting the job. Now, had I had good sales techniques and had a knowledge of them, I might have done it better in that interview, and I might have gotten the job. So, I want to talk a little bit about why sales is so important. Now, obviously, at its most simple form, sales equals money. In order for a company to thrive and make money, they need to be able to make sales. Caltech is no different. You have products and services that you need to sell, and radiation services for people in the community. If you're not making those sales, you're not making the money. And that's, at its core, the purpose of a company. You need to make money for it to keep going. So obviously, if you don't have sales, then money turns into the company going out of business. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about how you can make better sales, find people, use those techniques, and improve your company through sales. So to start off, I want to talk about preparation. In any sale, including sales that Caltech's doing, you need to be able to prepare and have the confidence in that interview, and that's done through preparation. There are a few steps in the preparation. First is knowing your product. Knowing your product is important because who you're selling to expects you to be the expert of that product. Now at Caltech, you're doing radiation services and cleanup and whatever it may be. Knowing your product is important because A, people either know exactly what you're all about and know about radiation services and expect you to know exactly what you're talking about. Or B, they're going to have no idea. A lot of people don't know about radiation solutions and things like that. So they're going to expect you to be able to tell them. So knowing your product or your service inside and out is important so that they can have the confidence in you and you'll better make the sale. Secondly, you need to know your client personally. A lot of people think that I'm just selling to a company, but no, you need to be selling to that person in the room. You need to know them, you need to know exactly what they're looking for. You need to know their needs. You need to be able to be able to sell them what it is that you're selling because they need it. You need to know that they need it. And knowing your client will help with that. You know your competitors. Now, you may not, Caltech may not have a lot of competitors. Radiation Solutions isn't exactly a high market service or product line. But you may have some competitors, and it's important to know them because you need to be able to get one up on them. You need to be able to know exactly how to set yourself apart from them and make yourself seem better than them. Why should whoever it is that you're selling go to you instead of them? It's important so that you can better sell those people and so that the competitors aren't grabbing people away from you. And lastly, you need to be able to convince yourself. You can't convince anyone else if you haven't first convinced yourself of your product, of your service. You're very knowledgeable at this company. It's Radiation Solutions is an engineering. It's a complicated service, and I'm sure you know it inside and out. But you need to be able to convince yourself that these people want your product. These people need your product. That way you can better sell to them. I want to go a little more basic and talk about what are you selling. Now you may think I'm selling radiation solutions, products, services. But thinking about selling a product, you may have success, you may not. If you may go into a sales meeting and you just the whole time talking about the product. You go into what it can do, why it's good for these people. and you may have success. But you'll have a lot more success if you think about selling yourself. That sounds kind of weird, but it's true. You need to be able to sell yourself to these people. They need to be able to trust you. They want to be able to connect with you. And that way you'll better be able to sell them because you'll be connecting with them. Selling yourself always will get you better results in sales than selling your product, because you can have a really crappy product, but they won't care if they think that they trust you and they want to get into business with you. Likewise, you could have a great product, but if you're not selling yourself, people don't trust you as much. So always focus on selling yourself instead of your product. Now there's a pretty common model when talking about sales that people use. In making a sale, first you want to grab their attention. You want to be able to use some unique way of getting their interest, their attention. That way they're not at different places in their mind. You know, they're focused on you and they're ready to talk with you about this sale. So having their attention is important. Next, you need to pique their interest, and you're usually going to do this by talking about the service that they need or the product that they need that you have. People may need radiation solutions from you, so you need to be able to tell them why it is that they need it, and that'll pique their interest because they'll suddenly realize, no, I need what this person is selling me. Next, you need to build the desire, and that's done through showing them the product or the service, talking about its features, why does they need it, and just going over it in general, and that way they are and describing why it is that they need it. And building desires is what's going to help with the sale as well. And going further from that, you need to be able to increase their conviction, and that's done by telling why your product or your service is better than whatever else is available, why they need it, talking about success stories with the product or the service. That way that they are more likely to be interested in the product and want to invest in you. And lastly, call for action. Never ever leave a sales pitch without calling for action. You want to if you want to sign a contract with them, you need to commit them to do that. If you want them to buy your product, you need to say, let's get this done. You need to say, hey, how do you want to go about paying for this? How do you want to go about getting involved in our company? You need to give them a call to action. That way they know that you're serious and you want them to be a part of your company or buy your service or product. Just going over some other techniques. First impressions count. You need to be able to know your client, like I said before, and groom yourself to them, both in personality and in appearance. You need to be professional in your appearance and your manner. People will decide in the first 10 to 15 seconds of meeting you their opinion of you. They'll decide if they're really serious about your product or about listening to what you have to say. Making that first impression good is important in a sale, because if you'll lose them quickly if you don't have that good impression set up. Second, you need to focus on starting a client relationship. You don't want to just be focusing on landing a client. You want to be building a relationship with them. This is important because if you're just trying to land a sale, they'll recognize that. They'll recognize that you don't really care about them. You just care about their money. So make sure that you're taking the time to build a relationship with this client, and that your product or service makes a relationship between you two, not just here's my product, give me the money, and go. Focus on building a relationship. Third, you need to listen. A lot of salesmen tend to just talk and talk and talk, and they don't care about what who they're selling to has to say. And that's important, because you need to be able to listen to their concerns, to their reservations, whatever it may be, their questions. You need to listen to what they have to say so that you can better tailor your sale to them. So making sure you stop talking every once in a while and ask them questions. Listen to what they have to say. That way they feel more connected with you and are more likely to invest in you. Kind of going along with that, you don't want to rush. That comes into listening as well, but you need to make sure that you're taking the time to really connect with this person, because then they'll feel connected to you and they'll feel safer. They'll trust you more. So not rushing through it and making them feel like they're just another number is important as well. Answer questions, don't guess. You need to make sure you're prepared to answer all the questions that you can, but sometimes you may not know an answer to a question they may have. Do not guess if that's the case, because if you guess, they might be testing your knowledge and they know that you're then lying or not unsure of what you're unsure of what you're saying. If you don't know an answer to the question, simply say, I'm going to find that out for you. I need to go get that information for you, but we'll get back to you on that. That way there's potential for even further meetings when you have more information for them. So don't guess, because they'll recognize that you're not really knowing what you're talking about. And lastly, you need to be passionate and excited. If you're dull and not enthusiastic about what you're selling them, they're not going to be sold, because they'll feel like you don't even feel excited about your product. You need to be excited about your product so that they can be excited about your product, and that's going to help the sale as well. There's a little quote here. It says, "Sales are contingent upon the attitude of the salesman, not the attitude of the prospect." So you need to have that attitude. You need to have that positive attitude, that confident attitude. Sales is the key to all business. Sales is important. Sales is what drives companies to progress. Without sales, you don't have a company, because you don't have any money. You need sales to build client relationships, to get people on board with you. So don't ever underestimate the power of sales. I encourage you to make sure that you're taking the time to make sales important in your company, training people on how to better sell what you have to offer to people. That way you'll have more clients, more money, more successful company.